Good afternoon, everyone, and I think it's a great pleasure to have Mayuresh today with us. And thank you so much, Mayuresh, for taking out time. I think we always were wanting to catch up with you, to know you more. And the format of today's series is also stitched around how you evolved in terms of your career, and more so to know you more personally, and also be a guiding light for the people who are joining us new on both sides, which is bank and HDFC Life. Because I think, just to quickly introduce Mayuresh, I think he's been a career banker, started off with the Steel Authority of India and then ventured into banking, and I think close to a quarter of a century now with HDFC Bank.
Yeah.
I think that in itself really speaks volumes about your distinguished career with the bank, and I think as we traverse through the questions which are following up, we'll know you more and what has worked for you. So welcome. And I think on the personal side, you have love for food. That's also something we share as a common trait. I love food as well. So food and travel is something that really excites most of us. So we'll know more on those sides of you. And I think you are a family man. You are also a proud pet parent, and those are things which really will give us a view of how your personal side of life is really panning out. So welcome, Mayuresh.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mayuresh.
To know more about you, I think we'll start off with the first question,
Sure.
which is around your initial phase of your career, which is when you started off with SAIL. Then you moved on to Centurion Bank, post which you joined HDFC Bank. What, according to you, were maybe some of the key things that really attracted you to brand HDFC and the bank in particular? And what at that point in time made you think would be the right career choice for you to have a long-term stint like you've had in the bank?
See, frankly, SAIL, etc. happened after my engineering, so that was a natural choice. Then I thought shop floor was not really my cup of tea. So then I moved into, I did my MBA. Then I joined the bank, so I'm quintessentially but HDFC Bank, I think, was a natural choice at that point of time, because it was soon becoming the quote-unquote Makkah of banking.
Yeah.
And it had got that stability within the first 5 years. So 2000 would have been 5 years of HDFC Bank. So that was happening. And the brand, the trusted brand. I mean, I still remember when we used to interview people as to where you come. This HDFC, who owns HDFC? Government ka hai. I mean, that was more from a trust point of view that people used to feel. So I think it was a natural choice for me. Maybe I was not expecting at that point of time whether I'll complete 25 years. But yes, a longish term, 10 years, etc. was the mindset with which I joined the bank. And rest is history.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as you just said, completing 25 years, of course, it's a biggest milestone in itself. So, I mean, it's very rare today, right? So, somebody really spending 25 years in an organization. So, what kept you motivated all of this while?
We are probably spread across maybe 40-50. You talk of any product of a bank, HDFC Bank is always there. I mean, it's there now across all products, and we are among the top 3 in most of the products that we deal with. So there is all the time, there is some excitement or the other happening. So there is never a boring moment as such. So it was not difficult, frankly.
From someone who's actually spent 25 years saying there was never a boring moment.
It's been an exciting journey, so
great.
Thank God for it.
Yeah. And just drawing, taking that question ahead. So it's been, you've changed over various job roles within this stint of yours. What, according to you, were some of the key milestones in this journey?
See, from a milestone perspective, I started off as a relationship manager in corporate banking. Right. And I would say that was a very good foundation, so to speak, because you were just thrown in the fire. You are customer facing. And at that point of time, there used to be not too many product teams, etc. The bank was growing slowly. So the relationship manager was the face of the bank. And in corporate banking, customers are extremely demanding. And what happens is all the products, so you end up actually knowing all the products, because you would have salary accounts. So some customer will come up, and everyone thinks that they are God's gift when you are dealing with large corporates. So they will come and say that, no, this salary account, this problem is there. So, you are also learning in the process as to what it is. So that was a very big this, according to me. And corporates don't want to hear no for an answer. So whatever is there, it's all about how you can do it rather than why. No, they don't want to know why you can't do it, how you can do it. So that helped, that the deal structuring mindset was something that came along during the journey. And couple of years back, LAP happened. So it was, so I used to head the western region of corporate banking when I moved here.
Right.
So that was, so being corporates, you are always also involved in the execution mode because deal sizes are 1,000 to 1,000 crores, etc. So moving to LAP was, getting out of execution and getting into more of people management.
Right.
So that was it was a big
change.
learning, so to speak, which happened. And then strategy in terms of what new you can do and set up processes which are going to be scalable. So these are the 4-5 things that has happened during the journey.
Yeah. So now that you've been in managing the lab business as the business head, how do you think that as a category of product, like lab is really a product category which is very deep rooted from self-employed and some of the businessmen who really derive a lot of benefit in terms of managing their cash flow. So what according to you is really the importance of the category and a product like lab for customers and particularly for the new age entrepreneurs who are just venturing into starting their business?
See, lab as a product, not too many people are still aware of the lab product. Because unsecured loans, people understand what it is. Credit card loans, so everybody understands. Then you have the banking where you give your stocks, book dates, etc. So lab product itself has not been so. I still feel it is very underpenetrated. Right. So just before I was talking to Shilpa, she said next 1 year at least you are sorted. I said according to me we are sorted for the next 10 years. Right. If you ask me, because lab is, as more and more people are becoming aware of it, property ownership has become people are really craving to have a property. So that is a big thing. And from a lab perspective, 3-4 things I'll tell you. One is when you have, it's a long-term asset that you own. So if you are able to monetize it with a option to get it back whenever you want, that gives you immediate cash flow availability. And the self-employed, so the base that I have today, it is self-employed. Right. It is the MSME space, the small entrepreneurs, the emerging entrepreneurs who are there in this space, and so for them this becomes a extremely important product, because if they have a property, it could be residential, it could be commercial, they can just monetize it, and it gives you one long-term loan. So LAP loans typically are 10 years and above. So otherwise, if you're going to go, if you go personal loan, you'll get probably for 3 years. Auto loan 3 to 5 years. But then they are defined for a purpose. So LAP 1, you get it for a period of 10 years. It is relatively cheaper because it's a secured asset. So banks also will tend to give the individual a little better rate of interest. Right. And the third thing, which is most important, is the end use. So you have the flexibility of using it either for working capital, or you could use it for term loan, or you could use it for personal consumption. Right. If there's a marriage in the family, for example, if you want a kid wants to go abroad, you can do a LAP loan. So because regulator is very clear in terms of what end use is. So we have to be very careful that the money doesn't go for speculative purposes like buying land or buying gold or buying shares, etc. So with all this put together, I think LAP is a fantastic product. Underwriting is the most important thing. If you are able to manage it, I think it's a super product category, if you ask me.
So as you just mentioned, I think for all of us also, LAP is absolutely an underpenetrated product, and there are a lot of misconceptions that we have, even with the customers or the bankers. So how do you really, create awareness or address these misconceptions around LAP?
See, not only customers and banks, it is, the neighbors also. If you are to take a loan against, by mortgaging your property, they will ask you a question, अच्छा, इसके पास पैसा नहीं है, I think he must be, घर गिरवी रखना पड़ गया उसको. So that is it's a pure misconception, because if you are going to use it, it is, so most people think that it's a last resort borrowing, either from the customer side, or from banks don't think so much, but more from the customer side. So that is a big myth which is there, if you ask me. Second myth is that, "Arey, itna documentation hai, there is this, you'll have to pay stamp duty, you'll have to do this, you'll have to do that." All that is not there. Processes are digitized. It's a fairly simple process, and the benefits that I mentioned to you earlier. So I think everything is a misconception, if you ask me.
About LAP.
About LAP. The intent should be good in terms of borrowing. On the customer side and from the bank side, the underwriting should be based on clear cash flow basis, and not saying that this is my property paper, give me the money. That is not how it will work, because any bank would never want to encash a security because it's a headache, right? You are assessing based on the cash flows of the corporate, of the individual, or if it's a small corporate. If the person has the ability to pay is when you're giving a loan.
Right.
You're securing it with the property, which in turn helps you get a little benefit on the tenor, benefit on the rate,
right,
and the end use. That's the long and short. Yeah.
So I think, Mayuresh, you've already answered my next question. In terms of what have been the strategic levers when it comes to your business, but just extending it a bit further now, in most business, and HDFC Bank has been at the forefront of, I would say, digital evolution when it comes to each of the products that they really are into. From a tech and digital side of business, what do you think will be some of the key things which can really enable more business for you? From a
you mentioned about distribution. See, distribution is definitely branch network is what we have. Right. So we leverage that significantly.
Right.
But along with that, you need to have underwriting that needs to be done, and then customer satisfaction. Right. So it's about how it is sourced, how it is processed, and how it is given. All this will rest on a digital platform.
Exactly.
So that at the time of sourcing, you are using digital, so that the customer journey at the time of applying becomes very, very simple. At the time of underwriting, now there are just so many surrogate programs available. I just type Jasjit and I'll come to know, even if he has ever delayed of a telephone bill for a few days, it comes up. So that is the use of the digital technology. Or if, for example, there's an individual who's a businessman, you get his GST data from which you can pull out. So that is what you use for the underwriting part of it. Customer satisfaction on the application side, once the loan is disbursed, you try to make sure that the customer doesn't have to visit again and again to the branch, whether it is an account opening, whether it is mortgaging the property. All of it, can happen digitally. So today, document signing, earlier you had to go there. Now there is NESL available. You Aadhaar-based OTP. You get the signature done. Sitting in the comfort of his house, he's able to go ahead and do the loan. So that is where the whole digital thing comes. Add to that, customization is something that we try to do to the extent possible for the customer delight, if you ask me. Because customer may want something, I will say this is available, lena hai to lo. That is no more. I mean, the world has changed completely. To the extent possible, within the regulatory framework, we try to, tailor make it for the customer in terms of end use, in terms of what property they are able to offer, and all of that. I don't know if I've answered your...
Yeah, you have.
So, given that we heard about the myths and the misconceptions that we had around LAP, how do you actually manage growth, given, such volatile economic phases? How do you manage, the growth levels that you are at?
See, I think volatility in the economy is a given today. The way the geopolitical thing is happening, India is becoming more and more global. There is so much of exports that we are doing, so much of imports. So we are not untouched at all. So volatility is part and parcel of any lending business. So it's about what kind of monitoring you're doing. So early warning signals is something that we are very, very particular about. So if there is a check bounce happening, some people have not paid on time, we get industry reports. So you need to, it's about risk management and not being risk averse. So so long as you're doing that, I think sky is the limit as far as you're doing. So further answer your question, maybe we do segmentation based on the industry. So if, for example, a particular industry, the exposure has gone up, we monitor that. So then we maybe will cut that. You look at it from a geography point of view. Because certain places in India, if you see, property ownership as well as the documentation part of it is not uniform across the country. Every state has got its nuances, its own nuances. So you need to, and certain states are very, very customer friendly in terms of asset monetization. So for Maharashtra, you would have heard the Chief Minister expressing his desire to, have a tokenization of properties. So I'm just waiting for it, when that will happen, because then it is like I give you the token, the property is yours.
Guess.
So whether it is mortgaged or not, I just punch in that token number or something, and I'm able to see it. So I'm sure it'll take time because it'll have its own challenges. So that is what is the need, I would think.
No, I think absolutely well said. And I think just moving and taking this question ahead further from, your personal perspective, and, you manage various businesses, you talked about corporate banking and lab now. What has been that one challenging moment which you always recall, and how you kind of maneuvered your way through it, successfully in terms of managing that challenge well?
But in my corporate banking days, there was a very large corporate group. Okay, so they will obviously have multiple businesses. Now, one of their business was not doing so well, and
for the corporate house.
For the corporate house, one particular business was not doing so well, and they wanted money in that company.
Okay.
Now, I would like to believe that we were, and probably we still are, house banks to that group. So saying no was not an option, and they were expecting that it's like, घर का check काट लिया और I'm getting the money. So it was just too difficult. So we, what to do? We can't say no because we had a huge relationship at stake, where we were not sure how it'll pan out. Maybe they'll go away or something. So that saying no was not really on the table. So then we got into a huddle, including the MD. So then I pulled out all the mitigants that are there, which was to be sold internally. All the risks that are there was to be sold to the concerned group, that that there is a challenge and how it is to be done. So you have to really marry this. Then our CEO then said that let's get the board also on board on this. So we went to the board gave some suggestions on it. Then we met the group chairman. We managed with certain verbal comforts, certain written comforts, because they had their constraints in giving it. So all this we put together, and we then finally, went ahead and disbursed that money, and we got it back also well. So it was all about how transparent you are, and with the challenges, etc., which we were able to do. There are many actually such instances, but this is one that came to my mind.
But what did this experience kind of really teach you on resilience, decision making, which you're still guided by today?
Be bold in what you stand for.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, you see those boards, at times, that is what it is. Be bold in what you stand for. You need to be transparent. Express transparently what the issue is. You hear out what the people have to say, but then you'll have to hold on to what you're saying. Because we need to understand one thing, that we are dealing in public money here. So relationships, etc., are between organizations, but I am responsible and answerable to the public. So it is, very important that we safeguard that trust that people have reposed when they have placed deposits with you. So
I think you made a great point, because most of us, we go through these situations wherein we don't want to say no, and we want to say a calibrated yes to be able to really evaluate. So I think that's a great learning. So moving on to because you are managing one of the key products in the bank, what do you look for, or what are the key qualities that you look for in terms of building leaders within your team? Because that's also an important aspect of any business, is the next best line really the best, and how do you really get them to be the best? So what are the key qualities that you really look for?
See, ours is all said and done. See, LAP, if you ask me, lies somewhere in between retail. It's not pure retail play. At the same time, it's not pure corporate play. So it's somewhere in between. But still, it is biased towards, it's a distribution business. Because today, probably 65% of my business comes from the branches, and balance through the external channel partners. So it becomes very important that people management skill is something that that the leader has, because it's all about people. You have to make sure that you're guiding them properly. you're setting up the processes for them, and then they are delivering. At the same time, on the commercial side, they should have some amount of commercial acumen, because somebody who's in the line of fire will immediately come and say, boss, this is what it is, otherwise my deal is going, or this is what it is. So where the market actually is, who is bluffing, and who is actually where the market is, and you may want to leave off some deals also. It's not that you have to do every deal in the market. So that commercial acumen is very, very important, that I would look in a leader, in addition obviously to the this part of it, which I mentioned in terms
As
of
you
people
mentioned
management.
in your last role, which was West Corporate Banking,
Yeah.
and then you moved in here with a lot of people management skills. So, and now that you're leading such a large team, how do you actually keep them motivated? When your targets are steep, the growth expectations from you are so high.
And
So
first,
how do you really
I hope I'm keeping them
Yes.
motivated is what I can say. But growth expectations, my growth expectations are not high at all, let me tell you. I'm a very reasonable man. I give very reasonable expectations. There is so much business available in the market, that nobody really feels. It's all about, lending you can do at any rate. If you throw money, anybody is willing to take it. It's about how sourcing profitable business, and as I was mentioning earlier, which business to let go and which to capture. So that is where the actual target or whatever you may. So the NIMs are what you need to protect, and in a falling interest rate scenario, it becomes very, very difficult. So that is what it is, because customers will always throw another bank sanction letter at you and say that this is giving more. So I am focusing on motivation of the people to tell them that let's try and focus on profitable business. Let's not, business will come. I mean, because there is just so much in the market that it will come. So it's profitability which I keep motivating, and I don't know, you need to just keep talking to people, understanding what, beyond office, how they are, and it's people, I always say relationship is like looking in the mirror. You smile at the image, smiles back at you, and that is what it is. So you are good to people, people will rally around with you. So that motivation is pretty easy, I hope.
So, something on your personal side, of course. So, you've handled a lot of challenging, demanding roles, corporate banking, lab, right? And while raising a family, of course. What, parity or something that you would draw corollary to a parenthood and a leadership role? Something that you
Let me tell you, leadership, घर पे जाके, if you try to show that you are the boss, you get beaten up very badly, whether it is your wife or your kids. They are unrelenting. So one thing I have learned very clearly is that first understand before being understood. That is what I have learned from my children are now fairly grown up. My son is 26 and my daughter is 22. So that is one thing that I have learned over the period of time. So it's about, so that also brings humility and a little bit of humbleness in you, because expectations are different, and you have to try and do a balancing act. The bank will obviously take up a lot of your time, but you have to, it's all about managing time, how you do it.
And I've always seen you in most of the interaction we've had, and when we are part of the regular business calls as well, I see you a lot grounded, very balanced, which is also an extension of what you spoke about, that you need to understand before being understood. I think that's a line I've picked up from you very well today.
A very interesting line.
And so professionally, what are the things that you keep you grounded, balanced professionally?
The family, or you're saying the work? Sorry.
The work.
See, it's about, when you are dealing with people, it's about customer first, and what the customer wants is what you need to deliver eventually.
Right.
You are working for an organization, someone is lending money to, placing a deposit with you, you have to give it. And organization first is, I think, is what matters the most.
Right.
And so, customer focus with the organizational objectives being fulfilled. So long as you are able to marry the two,
Right.
is I think you're sorted. And the other important thing from a banking perspective is about integrity. You have to be, integrity is not questionable, so you should get a good night's sleep when you go back home, and you follow the process. So long as you are following the process which is there with the customer interest in mind, while keeping, obviously the customer may want money for free. So there your organizational objective comes in, that you bring some reasonability to it. And then probably these three things you do, automatically you're grounded. You don't end up taking stress beyond a point. When you're trying to, somewhere do a juggle in between that, is, when you end up having issues.
Jasjit, if you're comfortable, we would like to ask you also something, right?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So, from a partnership lens, what do you really think that the HDFC Life and the bank model, it really makes it work well?
So I think first is acknowledgement. I always say this in all the forums that I go to or wherever I get an opportunity to engage. I think it's really a proud moment for us to partner, and now more so after the merger with the bank, the bank becoming a parent. I think all the more accountability and responsibility continues to be there, but I think there is that sense of protection as well that, being a group company, we are being guided in the right way. So I feel fortunate, that all of us collectively are running for a common objective, which is to really look at the customer interest and the customer's benefit at large, be it through the core banking products or through the protection offerings that we have to really safeguard the interest of the customer. And I think to that extent, I believe that this partnership is really evolved over the years. Some of the data points that really stand, behind us very strongly. We are one of the, like the bank is one of the, amongst the top 10 banks in the world. We are also, as an insurance company and as a partnership with the bank, one of the most strongest one in the Asia Pacific. And I think that really backs us well. In terms of product innovation, be it in terms of our people strategy, I think we've seen continued deepening of this relationship. And I think that's where it gives a good confidence to us that this is going to hold true. We also keep evolving ourselves to the changing, as Mayuresh mentioned, I think we live in a world where every day is like a new day and every day is also like a month end. So we carry that pressure and somewhere we have to balance that and still be on the right side of the fence. So I think that's something that we really are really confident of from a partnership.
So if life and bank was it's like a relationship status, what do you think it is?
Happily married forever.
Lovely, I like that.
Very well said, yes.
That's what I could think of immediately.
Yes. And that's what we hope for,
Yeah. So I think now moving on to knowing, your personal side more. And don't worry, we'll not put you on a spot.
Fully kitab hai.
So growing up, and those, in the formative years of anyone's, life, you come through and you get influenced by some of the key traits or people around you. What do you think were your early influences and how have they really shaped your values and your value system?
Like most people, I think parents. My dad, he was in the Air Force and he was an epitome, if I may use that word, of patience and perseverance. So these are, I actually feel that, if people are able to imbibe even 10% of his patience levels today in the world will be a different place to live. I have been able to do only 5 out of that, so let me tell you, admit that. But I mean, these are two things that I, learned from him. My mother has always been a very, very strict, this disciplinarian, if I may, and studies and sports, everything has to be done together. I am actually, I've got 2 elder sisters.
Right.
So respect for women, etc., came naturally to me, which was, so that was one. And the third thing is, despite being the quote-unquote ladla beta, mom was very particular about ensuring that, distribution of labor has to be done equally. So if the maid is not there, today if my sister has cleaned up the utensils, I'll have to do it the next day. And so in the process, I used to help out with cooking also. So instantly I make decent biryani also. So someday we can.
One day we should definitely.
And COVID actually honed my skills considerably.
Yeah.
So my parents has been the biggest influencers.
So recently, interacting with you, we kind of got it that you've been actually an acquired pet parent, right? So can you just throw something on that?
It's a long story. Yeah. So my children were in Pune, and my maid in Pune called up my wife and told that these fellows have brought one puppy home. So we have a family group. So I wrote my message saying that please find her a home in the next 2 weeks, and if you want me to join back the group, and I exited the family group. And the background, a lot of things were happening. When finally my son said nothing doing. I mean, you want to give it, you give it up. I'm not going to do anything. And as time passed a little, now she's like the cynosure of the eye of the entire family, and probably I love her the most. My kids tell me that you have disowned us now, and she's. But it's a very hard, this experience. Let me tell you, but I'm not trying to promote anything, but it just gives you, it just de-stresses you completely. One thing I've realized about human psychology in this, is that opening the mouth is what actually causes the ego comes in there, and that's where all the stress comes in. And dogs, unfortunately, are zipped, so they don't speak.
Yeah.
So unconditional love is what you imagine them to be giving you, and that's what actually, So yeah, so that's about pet, and I've learned a lot. I mean, about more than de-stressing, it's a leadership quality that when you want to, when you need to zip up, even with your superior supervisors or whatever it may be, it's a trait.
Yeah, it is.
To be more likable, and so that's what it is.
Absolutely. We've got some rapid fire questions for you, but I don't think we have an hamper today, right? So maybe sometime other time, right?
Sell more, bring some more insurance products for my business, and that is an hamper for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So preference, coffee or chai?
If I have to make it, coffee, because chai making is this. Otherwise, I love chai.
Okay. Great one. Home cooked food or you prefer dining out?
Home cooked food.
Okay. And a dish that you never say no to?
Any Indian sweet. I'm not the tiramisu types, but any Indian sweet, I just love it.
Like still to name one? Jalebi, gulab jamun.
I can't do injustice to the other.
Okay.
Everything, absolutely. Just name it. Basundi to gulab jamun to anything. Yeah.
Okay. So you're a foodie, right? So favorite city in India for food?
Favorite city? You'll have to give me two options, because from a chart perspective, it is Indore clearly, and from a sweet perspective, it is Kolkata. I mean, I just Nolan Goose time, so I just love it.
Early morning garden time or evening walks? Now that you have a pet also. So.
Garden time, any day. Because I love gardening. I'm lucky to have a small garden patch in Pune.
In Mumbai?
No, in Pune.
Okay.
So I do a lot of gardening. So what you sow, you reap. I try to do it.
So a road trip or a flight or a biking? That we just heard.
Road trip is what I love. Not necessarily biking now, by car, but yeah, road trip over flight.
Okay. And dogs walk, quiet solo time?
Sorry, dogs walk?
Walk with your dog or a quiet solo time or walking by yourself?
Dog walk surely, but it's also a solo time because you are the only one who's talking
right,
to the dog,
zipped,
not
as you said.
respond. So, yeah.
Okay. So if your leadership journey was a hashtag, what would that be?
So it's marathon time now, so hashtag marathon.
Okay.
It's in for the long haul.
Right. If lap was a movie genre, what would it be?
It's a sweet soap opera, if I may say that.
Very interesting.
With nice business happening, nice set of people.
Yes. And one thing that your team would actually be surprised to know, like they don't know that side of it.
I know. One of my colleagues mentioned, "Oh, you have a pet. I didn't know that." Yes. So maybe the pet or maybe the cooking. So they may want to taste my biryani. I don't know.
Even we want to do that. Yes.
Sure. So that may be the only one.
Yeah. So we're now almost towards the end of this session, and I just wanted to maybe check with you in terms of a lot of people who are part and who are at the cusp of starting their corporate journey, and they're just at that initial 2-3 years of experience. I mean, what would one single message to them, and particularly for somebody who's wanting to build a career, let's say in mortgages business, what would be your message to those young professionals?
So I think I'll draw from my hashtag marathon this only. So you please keep in mind that you are here for the long haul. It's a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint. That people need to realize, because insta gratification is what the younger generation looks at. So banking is a very boring business, if you ask me. So you keep doing the same thing again and again is what you need to do. What is important is a customer. You need to understand that you are partnering the customer, you are not closing a transaction with the customer.
Right.
That is very, very important, and that is what I would tell all the youth to keep in mind. Understand the business of the customer, understand what the cash flows of the customer are, what the customer requirement is. Otherwise, you've got 2 years, you listen twice of what you speak. Otherwise, you have this product, this is what you throw at the customer. So understand. what it is and then do it. So that's my that's very, very important for people to do in a banking. So basically get into develop a relationship with the corporate individual customer, be it a corporate or this, so that you are able to understand what the needs are and then tailor-make needs for the customer, and the customer is yours through the life journey.
So well said, and I think thank you so much, Mayuresh, for taking out time, and I think we had a really great session.
And I think it is very interesting to know. I don't think we've seen this side of it.
And I'm sure a lot of people within our teams and your teams would not have seen this side of you for some time. So thank you so much for taking out time and answering some of the notorious questions as well from Shilpa. But really had a great time having you here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Jasjit.
Thank you, Shilpa.